you ready to talk about one of the strangest corporate cases of all time? Yeah, we're going to do it here in my summer seersucker suit from the second floor of the Goldberg Law Office. What's that they're doing down there? Oh, I can see. I can look down. They can look up. Let's talk about this. Here we have something that is truly weird. Twitter, the actual target of Elon Musk's hostile takeover bid, who first rejected Musk, then relented to Musk's takeover bid, is now going to sue Elon Musk to force him to buy Twitter, even though he no longer wants to buy Twitter, as in a spurned suitor that had been courted saying, no, please still date me, even though you no longer want to. It's weird. It has not been done or litigated before, at least on a scale that any of us have heard about it. So let's go over some basics here. Twitter is a publicly traded company, meaning that its shares for ownership are available for all to purchase. This is a big difference as opposed to a closely held corporation where the shares are owned internally and cannot be publicly traded, can't just be sold willy-nilly. The rules about how it can be sold and when. Think about a company corporation. Dell Corporation for a while was publicly traded and then went back to being closely held, meaning that the owner himself took over, and then there's rules over how you can sell it. And this is how most small family corporations and small corporations work. Similarly, LLCs, limited liability companies, or limited partnerships, the ownership not held in shares but held in percentages by the members aren't available for all to purchase. So that's Twitter. Elon Musk wanted to take it over via hostile bid, meaning he shows up saying, I'm going to purchase without the board of directors' consent enough shares to take a controlling stake on the board. And once you have enough board members that you appoint because you own enough of the company, let's say it would have taken 20% or 30% of Twitter shares to then have enough board members where he can then vote out board members that are opposed to him and his new policies and his choice for management and such. That's a hostile takeover bid, which is completely different than situations, very frequent, where the board of directors invites a potential purchaser or agrees to potential purchaser's offer. So the little history that came on over here, and I'll really synthesize it because it's fun, it's exciting, and it's very colorful, but we don't have time for it, is that Elon Musk started quietly accumulating enough shares without telling anybody to plant himself on the board. The board then says, okay, here's your seat, come on in. And he says, no, I'm going to make a hostile takeover bid to purchase yet even more where I can knock out several of y'all and have several seats over here. So first Twitter's like, you know what? No, this isn't happening. We're not going to let it. But soon they realized they don't have very many good options. So they relented to it. Okay, so there was a deal. The deal was that Twitter would essentially agree to, under multiple different terms, Musk buy out for about $44 billion, not of 100% of the shares, but again, a controlling percentage at around specifically $54.20, which is Musk's weird sense of humor in inserting a 420 reference into his buyout bid. This guy's nuts. I think that we can all agree upon that. So they agreed upon it, they signed the paperwork, and part of the paperwork involved like, you do this, and you tell me this, and blah, blah, blah. And if the deal doesn't go through, Musk must pay them $1 billion penalty. And the deal cannot go through for multiple reasons. Regulators don't allow for it, his financing dries up, etc. Okay, so Musk then backs out over the past week or so. Why? He says, one, Twitter made material misstatements, i.e. lied to me, about the amount of fake bot accounts. Fake bot accounts can be for a multitude of reasons. Twitter could create a whole lot to sell onto advertisers. Oh, look at all these users we have. Or it could be actual advertisers creating fake accounts so that they can make solicitations. Or it can be political hacks. Russians or the BDS movement has done this to bully people into anti-Israel position by creating a lot of account users, which makes it look like there's a lot of people that agree with them on XYZ issues. So he says, Twitter didn't tell us enough. He accused Twitter of withholding information to allow him to look into this, and he accused them of big management decisions that he didn't consent to, such as layoffs, budget cuts, etc. So Twitter argued that this is BS. A, Musk has no evidence that Twitter lied to him. B, Musk agreed. He agreed that he doesn't get a due diligence period. This is kind of similar to an option period when you're purchasing a home, a period of time where you can look into a deal, a due diligence period where you can look into it and say, yeah, I like everything, or no, I don't like it, I'm backing on out. So he agreed to waive this, and they're all like, now you're saying you didn't have enough time and enough information, but you waived this thing. And then third, they said they had to cut staff and costs because of the economic conditions affecting the entire economy and all other social media platforms. So Musk called out Twitter essentially over its claim that less than 5% of his accounts are fake. This can be argued in both ways. One, from Musk's position, he can say, look, this has long been a problem for me all the way back to 2018. I've been making this accusation against you. Clearly, I care about it, and it's a valid reason for me to back out. Twitter can say the opposite. You have been complaining about it since 2018, and yet you still agreed to purchase this company or controlling stake in this company despite that knowledge, despite waiving your due diligence period and accepting our statements. So what's the difference now? What has changed? What's really going on? No one has any clue what's going on in that man's brain. But I would venture to say it has something to do with the money. Musk needed to cash out of his vast crypto holdings before they crashed because he saw what was happening and was thinking, if I can take this money, liquidate the crypto holdings, liquidate it into cash, I got to put it into something. How about this? Similarly, he was thinking interest rates are low. I can finance part of the deal using my Tesla shares and get a loan base off of that. Well, that hasn't worked out so well because in the interim, crypto has really crashed. Even his own Tesla shares have crashed and interest rates have spiked, making it really difficult for him to come up with the cash and the financing to make this deal work. And simultaneously, Twitter's own shares fell dramatically down into the lower $30 per share. So he's committed himself to purchasing at $54.20 per share when it's really down in the 30s or so. So maybe he's saying, I got to get the hell out of this. Or maybe he's thinking, I'm going to pull the stunt and then maybe renegotiate with him at the last second. Twitter's options are not good, really not good. One, they can just keep it simple, sue for $1 billion penalty and be done with it. And then what? Hope for the best, hope that another purchaser comes along. They're in a tight spot. They needed this deal. Two, they can sue for specific performance. This is nuts. They would force, if they win, Musk to purchase the company that he doesn't want to. And how do they force him to pay? I don't know. Stay tuned. Till next time.